What's up everyone, this is Wasim from the Tech Boys and I have a battle between the Apple iPhone 5 and the LG built Google Nexus 4. So this battle is basically between iOS and Android. The iPhone 5 is Apple's latest flagship iOS device and the Nexus 4 is basically Google's flagship Nexus device. It's running the latest version of Android and it's a stock version, so there is no custom skin from Samsung, HTC, or LG. This is just a pure Android phone. So first we're going to talk about the hardware. We're going to start with the Apple iPhone 5 first. So let's bring up the iPhone here. So here we have the iPhone 5. It has a 4-inch Retina display. So again, it's not as big as high-end Android phones, but it's still a nice change. So a slightly longer display than the previous iPhone. And it's super thin. It's 7.6 millimeters thin, and it's a nice aluminum construction. And on the back you're gonna notice the aluminum back as well as the glass on the top and the bottom. So just a a really good looking phone. This is probably Apple's best designed iPhone. It's just super thin, it's light, it's really a nice feeling in the hand with the iPhone 5. And then they redesigned the lightning port, so we don't have the 30 pin, it's called the lightning port. With our headphone jack, which has been moved to the bottom, and our speakers. And it also comes in white, so the white has a pure aluminum, which with the black it's a anodized aluminum. So I absolutely love the iPhone 5 design. The iPhone 5 is hands down the best looking device on the market. Alright, so here we have the Nexus 4. The Nexus 4 has a 4.7-inch display with a resolution of 1280 by 768. So just a much bigger screen, a wider screen than the iPhone 5. It's not as thin as the iPhone 5. That might be a good thing because some people actually complain that the iPhone 5 feels too thin and too light. With the Nexus 4, it's a little bit a nicer feeling just because it's a little bit heavier. So you feel like it's not going to fall out or just fly off your hand. It's built plastic around the edges, and on the back is glass, kind of similar to the iPhone 4S and the 4. So glass on the front and back, and there is a really nice design to the Nexus 4. If you tilt it at a right angle, you'll be able to see the there's a pattern effect on it. There would need to be sunlight in the room, but it's a really cool effect on the Nexus 4. And again, the phone is built by LG. On the bottom is a micro USB charging and syncing port. On the left side is the volume rocker. And on the right we have our power mute switch. And at the top is the headphone jack. So the design is really good on the Nexus 4. But just compared to the iPhone 5, I believe the iPhone 5 just takes it as far as what you get. As for the material, it's an aluminum construction, and even the option that it comes in white is a really nice feature. And again, some people might actually prefer the Nexus 4's design over the iPhone 5. Inside the phone, the iPhone 5 has a dual-core A6 chip clocked at around 1.3 gigahertz. It has 1 gigabyte of RAM with an optional 16, 32, and 64 gigs of storage. The iPhone 5 has an 8 megapixel camera on the back. The Nexus 4 has a quad-core Snapdragon S4 Pro processor with 2 gigabytes of RAM and an 8 megapixel camera. The storage options only come in 8 gig or 16 gig. The iPhone 5 starts at $199 with a 2-year contract and $650 off contract. The Nexus 4 starts at $199 with a 2-year contract at T-Mobile and at $300 off contract from the Google Play Store and $350 for the 16 gig. Alright, now let's talk about software. The iPhone is running iOS 6.0.2 and the Nexus 4 is running Android 4.2 Jelly Bean. So, obviously the operating systems are very different. Apple's iOS operating system is very simple, it's straightforward. There's really not much you can do other than, move the apps around. But many people may like that just because it's straight to the point. There's no learning curve really to iOS. And like I said, just very simple. The Nexus 4 gives you much more features. You can add widgets, move them around, And with Jelly Bean, it just makes it much nicer with the auto align feature, which is nice. You know, the quick toggles you get in your pull down notification bar. So just a little bit more that you can do on Android than iOS, widgets and other things like that. Alright, so now the market is kind of going into a new direction. So Google has built their own voice assistant. It's through Google Now, so a nice way to go get to Google Now is just tap the search bar, and we will be in Google Now. Apple has Siri, so these are two very similar features that both devices have. And Google Now, you can ask it a lot of nice facts, like your weather, you know, facts about other countries, you know, who's the president, things like that. And Siri, you can do the same thing. I found Google Now much faster, and what's really cool about Google Now is they can also show you a few more information. So if you go to show more cards, it will tell you how long it takes to get to work. You can get weather, transit, flights, sports, appointments, and currency, and a lot more that you can get with these card views, which is really cool. And with iOS, there's really nothing similar to that. You do have Passbook, which gives you, you know, these card-like passes, like your Starbucks card or your flight boarding passes. But this is really a nice all-in-one system, and just the speed recognition is much nicer. Now I just want to do a few comparisons using Google Now and Siri, just to show you what kind of performance you might find. What's the weather in New York City?
It's 31 degrees and clear in New York.
What's the weather in New York City?
Here's the weather for New York through Monday.
So again, you can see that they both got them pretty fast. Google Now was slightly faster, and let's ask it something else. Who is the president of Germany?
The president of Germany is Joachim Gauck.
Who is the president of Germany?
Checking on that. This might answer your question.
Alright, so Siri got it. Again, like I said, Google Now is just much, much faster. Some other things Siri can do is Siri can make table reservations. It's a little bit better with movie passes and movie tickets than Google Now. And again, you know, you can both send text messages on both, as well as create appointments and set reminders with both operating systems. You also have Google Wallet on the Nexus 4. So Google Wallet is a really cool way to pay with your phone without having to use your, you know, a credit card. Alright, now we're going to do a few speed tests in the web browser. So we are going to jump into the web on both. And I'm just going to go in and clear all the history. Alright, so we are going to go to phonearena.com, and both devices are on the same Wi-Fi network, so they should get very similar network speeds. So this will just test the processors of both devices. So we have Phone Arena queued up on both, and we're going to press go at the same time and see which phone loads the website first. So go. And they're both off. And the Nexus 4 pulled up the content much faster, and it is done. The iPhone 5 is still loading up, and then the iPhone 5 is done. So you can see the Nexus 4 did load it up faster than the iPhone 5. As far as performance in the browser, both phones are very, you know, they're fast or smooth. So they're both very, very, very good browsers. You can see that there. Both very nice browsers, and they both give you really nice features. What I like with Chrome on the Nexus 4 is being able to sync with other tabs on other devices. You can also download Chrome on the iPhone 4, but I just feel like It just works much better on the Nexus 4. You have iCloud tabs on the iPhone 5, so if you do use Safari on your Mac, you can do that as well, which is really cool. And as well, I just feel like the menu is just nicely presented on the iPhone 5 compared to the Nexus 4. So you can see the menu here, and then the menu on the Nexus 4. It just the user interface and the graphics it looks nicer compared to the Nexus 4. And let's go ahead and go into a story. And they're both off. And the iPhone 5 finished. And the Nexus 4 is still loading up a few more things. But bottom line is that the browsers on both phones are very fast, so just very comparable as far as the speeds. Browser features are both pretty much neck and neck. None of the devices support Flash anymore, and it's just gonna prefer on, which browser you prefer, iOS, Safari, or Chrome, and that's totally up to you. Next, I want to talk about battery life. So battery life was a little bit of a weak point on the Nexus 4. It definitely wasn't as good as the iPhone 5. So if you, especially with light use, you should be able to get through a few days. But with moderate and heavy, I find my phone about to die pretty quickly. It's just using the phone on the Nexus 4 just dies much quicker. The iPhone 5 it's very good on battery life. iOS has been always good on battery, so this is just a nice feature on the iPhone 5. I've easily been able to get through a full day with moderate use. Just compared to the Nexus 4, I found myself trying to charge my Nexus 4 much more frequently compared to my iPhone 5. With call quality and the speaker, the iPhone 5 again exceeds much better than the Nexus 4. Just the 4 speaker, which is the loudspeaker, isn't as clear. It's not as loud compared to the iPhone 5. The earpiece is very comparable. I would still give it to the iPhone 5 just for the clarity of the earpiece. And that brings me up into my next subject, which is the camera. So the camera on both are both 8 megapixel cameras, and they're both very, very good cameras. The iPhone 5 does take slightly better pictures, but the Nexus 4 does add a lot more features. So you can see here, you can really change it up, add some effects here, change the saturation levels, and as well as there's a really cool feature right here, which really gives you a full 3D panorama view. That's something the iPhone 5 does not have. They just have the standard panorama. But at the end result, the iPhone 5 does have a slightly better camera. And video is a little bit smoother, of course clearer, and the colors just come out a little bit more accurate. Alright, so here I have the keyboards on both devices. Here we have the new Jelly Bean keyboard. Honestly, this is probably one of the best keyboards I've used on an Android phone. Google has improved the accuracy as well as the predictions of the Nexus 4. So again, very simple. You also get a really cool gesture keyboard as well built into the same keyboard. So again, really, really nice that this is built in. The iPhone, honestly, it's had the same keyboard for a while now. I mean, it works very well if you just love the standard type keyboard, then this is going to be a really good keyboard to use. And I've been using this keyboard for a long time, so it's just a very familiar keyboard, and it's really easy to type on, even though it's a smaller screen. it's still very good with predictions and accuracy. But I do like the Jelly Bean keyboard. A little bit better because it gives you the gesture typing as well. Alright, so there is a big feature that the iPhone 5 does have that the Nexus 4 does not. And I will show you that right now. Let me just pull these guys off Wi-Fi for just a second. Okay. Yes, and this does have to do with the network. So let me bring my iPhone 5 closer. And that is LTE. So the iPhone 5 does have LTE, with the Google Nexus 4 does not. So I mean, if you do have LTE in this area, this is going to be a huge drawback for you because you know the Nexus 4 does not feature it, and if you wanted to get it, you would not be able to take advantage of those very fast speeds. So just to show you what you're going to be missing out, I'm going to run speed tests just to make sure they're on the same server. So I have my Nexus 4 on AT&T's HSPA network and the iPhone 5 on LTE. Alright, so the iPhone 5 is loaded up. The download was 7.5 megabits and the upload a whopping 16.57. The Nexus 4 got a download speed of 2.57 and an upload speed of 0.43. So you can kind of see the results is LTE is going to be much faster, especially if you're going to be streaming video or music, even just web browsing is going to be much faster. On the iPhone 5, especially when you're on LTE, which is just a huge feature, especially in 2013. LTE is now the standard, and if you do have a 3G or HSPA phone, this is not going to be a good phone to keep for a long time. Alright guys, this has been my comparison between the Apple iPhone 5 and the Google Nexus 4. So my winner today is going to be the Google Nexus 4. And there are a few reasons why I will choose the Nexus 4. One is the software. Android 4.2 Jelly Bean is just, honestly, it's a great software to use. It's very fun. Just the level of what you can do on Jelly Bean is just very nice. It's a super fast operating system. Gives you so much more customization compared to iOS. Like you can even change your keyboard, add launchers. So just a ton of things I can say about the Nexus 4 that I can do compared to the iPhone 5. Another reason why I chose the Nexus 4 is the price point. For $300 for an unlocked Android device, it's a very good deal. So I mean, you can buy this through the Google Play Store. It will work on AT&T and T-Mobile. So the deal is another reason why I would choose it. And my last is just overall, even for the price point, it's a very good phone. It's running the latest Android software. It has a quad-core processor, as well as 2 gigabytes of RAM. So this phone is no slouch. It's super fast. Just loading the web browser. The screen is very nice. It has an IPS display, which is very comparable to the iPhone. But it's a much bigger screen, which is nice, especially if you don't like the smaller display. And you're just getting a very good value with the Nexus 4. The iPhone 5 is definitely not a bad phone. But for the price point of $650 unlocked, it is not as appealing as the Nexus 4. But yes, you do get LTE, so if you do need LTE, then pick up the iPhone 5, and if you do like the simplicity of it, then you definitely know what you want. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you in next videos. Thank you.